Welcome to another Thursday morning live card making class. My name is Alisa Tilsner. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. I go live every Monday now and Thursday. Monday I do a product spotlight showing the products that we're going to use for the entire week, and then Thursday I come in and do some card making with that suite. If you check out my Facebook page, I have lots of different samples. I've shown a couple of different ways that I have coloured in one of the images from this week, and so you can follow along on both. I am streaming to both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So this week we are playing with the garden Meandering Meadow Suite, but today I'm only going to play with the Garden Meadow Bundle, which is part of that big suite. So this week so far I've done the product spotlight. Hello Deb, hello Leanne. I have done the product spotlight on Monday. Then on Wednesday was today? Thursday, yes, Wednesday, yesterday, I did a live in the Blends and Beyond Facebook group colouring the wheelbarrow. I did a rusty look on that, and then that has also been uploaded to YouTube, so you can find that here as well. And so today I'm going to create with those images that I coloured in yesterday. Hello, great to see everyone helloing and waving to each other. It's great. Hopefully I'm not glitchy. I've noticed that the last couple of times I have gone live, I've been glitchy. Thank goodness it's only been on the camera view that faces me, not my desktop. So let's switch around to the desktop view just in case, and we can get started. So these are this is the image that I coloured yesterday. I sort of went for a little bit of a rusty technique type of colouring. So that's blends, and then it's just got a little bit of depth added with a black pencil just to make a few areas a little bit deeper. And then I went and coloured in the little basket of flowers to match, and then also the little garden tools, and I sort of followed along and did a bit of the rusty technique on the garden tools and added a little depth to the trowel with the black pencil as well. So I have got those. That was just my colour swatching, just using up bits of cardstock. Good morning, Jennifer. Yay! Overcast. Yes, it is overcast. I actually thought it was going to rain last night, so that was good. Well, good. I don't know. One of our rainwater tanks is empty, so you know, rain would be nice. Deborah says she loves watching and learning. Great colouring techniques. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, before we get started, I'm just going to say that I don't do measurements as we're creating today. So if you are wanting to head on over to my blog, alisatilsner.com, you'll see a subscribe button. You can subscribe to my newsletter. And then every Friday, the card that we've made today goes out as a written PDF tutorial. And that way you can, you know, all my measurements will be given, inches and centimeters, a list of all the products that I've used. So you don't even have to go thinking about it all. That will all be sent out in a newsletter in tomorrow. Not glitchy today. Oh, thank goodness. I switched it over. I've got access to 5G and normal Wi-Fi. So I put both my iPad and my iPhone on the normal one, not the 5G. So I'm hoping that you would think that the 5G one would be faster, but I don't even know whether we've got a 5G tower, you know, supposedly. Okay, right. So I've got an idea in my head, but I want to do a little bit of a watercolor background on one of the pieces. So I'm going to do that first. I thought about ink blending. I am going to do some ink blending, and I thought about ink blending all of it, and then I thought, let's do a little bit of watercoloring. It's been a little while since I've done a watercolor background technique. So let's do that. I think I need to get my mat out, my very old Teflon sheet here. Oh, I tell you what, we as demonstrators have had access to, which reminds me of another thing, but focus, not squirreling. We have had access to the new mini catalogue that's coming out in January and the celebration catalogue that's coming out in January. And there is an awesome, awesome, awesome gift for people who are going to join up in January and February. Holy cow. And that, if I had it today, oh, I wouldn't need this. I wouldn't need this at all. So there's just a little hint of what's coming without giving you a hint of what's coming. demonstrators can get their hands on it in December. So if you want it early, you can always sign up a little bit earlier. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze my ink pad and just transfer a little bit of the Asia, and I'm using Asia Afternoon because that's the color that I used when I did my coloring. So I'm just going to grab a paintbrush. I'm not going to use a aqua paint or water painter thing today, just because I want a little bit looser. So I'm just going to fill that up, and then I'm going to put some water down on my layer of card, and because it's got inkiness in it already, it's going to just give me a nice background. We'll pounce away. I want a little bit of texture. I'm not sure how far up, so I'm just going to fill the whole area. And so I'm just going to let that sit for a moment and let it dry. Because I'm just using basic white cardstock, it will probably dry fairly quick, I would think. Let me just get my other white cardstock out of the way. I know what happens to me. So let me just give that a little bit of a dry. And you have to work pretty quickly because it will pill. And you can see well, you probably can't see. I can see. I'll bring it up to the camera that I've got little spots in it where the colours sort of shattering, maybe? Is that what you call it? Just, you know, where the pigments come out a little bit, so you can actually see what undertones the inks have when you get a little bit of watercolor in it. So I'm just going to do a little bit more. That's enough, I think. I will actually give that a wipe out. Look at this. I really should get myself a new piece of rag, shouldn't I? So I'll just wipe that out because it did have a fair bit of water in it. And I can give that a rinse out. And that will give me a little bit of time for that to dry. So hopefully when I come back to this piece here and I want to use it, I can, I'm going to put this way on the back bench and hopefully I don't knock it over. I'm just going to give it another quick zap. So you can actually see bits of purple coming out in that, which is okay because I've used purple. See how it's got the little spotties in it? And now I'm starting to get, as it's drying, now I'm starting to get some hard lines, which is pretty cool. So did definitely want a little bit of texture in that background. And you can see the purple starting to come out of the blue. And there's turquoise coming out of it. So it's really, I find it interesting what colours, you know, what pigment colours are making up that one colour. And as it dries, it'll be completely different again. So don't be afraid to do your watercolour backgrounds on basic white. You just need to set it aside to dry and don't go too full on because you have the, see, I don't know whether you can see, it's starting to get a little bit like the texture of the cardstock's actually changing a little bit. But anyway, let it dry and hopefully by the time we get back to it, it'll be nice and dry. Okay, what else do I have? I have another panel of, do you know what? I could have used that one panel and anyway, no. Don't start thinking about things that I could have done, should have done, all of that stuff. All right, in the Garden Meadows die, there is this gorgeous arch. So we are going to die cut our arch. And it will give us two pieces. That's why I'm sort of thinking I should have used the insert. I could have saved a bit of paper, but that's okay. I can use it for another time. So I'm going to die cut that one first. And I forgot to mention these are part of the online exclusive section. Hello, Cynthia. Good evening. Good morning. Good mid-morning. All right, so I'm going to pop that, and because I'm on the side, I'm going to try and make sure that I'm nice and straight. And lay that down, run it through. Okay, and then this gives us 2 pieces. So if you wanted to save a piece of card, you could actually do your little bit of watercoloring on that piece there. And but I will save that for another piece. But this is the piece that I've got that I wanted. So I am now going to do I need this one? I don't know that I do need. Oh yeah, I just need that one, don't I? I'm so glad that the instructions are written on this base pad, because I tell you what, I still get mixed up sometimes. Okay, got piles of stuff everywhere. I should do an aftermath photo of what my setup looks like and what my room and stuff looks like. So I'm using the exposed brick 3D folder here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of texture on this little piece. And while I've got this machine out, I should really die cut all my pieces, right? Okay, so there is my panel now that's got a little bit of brickwork going on with it. Pop you back there as well. So how has everyone's week been so far? What have you been up to? Chatter in the comments. Oh, and if you have questions, just, feel free to ask them while we are crafting. Or I always stick things to that. Look, I'm trying to keep it safe and let it dry, and now I've just piled stuff on top of it. Goodness me, I'm hopeless. All right, there's these guys. Do I dare? Do I dare? Do you know what I'm going to ask? Do I dare? I don't know. Should I attempt it? Is it too many moving pieces? Do you think? And don't recommend washi tape to me, because I suck with washi tape. I know that some of you guys like to put washi tape down. I just end up tearing everything. I'm not good with it. Okay, so Cynthia's going to tell us a funny story. She had this Saturday when I got it, didn't realize until she looked at it. Oh no, it was in French. The bundle was in French. Oh man. How Leanne says go for it. Try and cut. You know, though, the worst thing about die cutting is, like, I don't know, I sort of feel like sometimes I should die cut things before I color them in, because there's nothing worse than coloring something in and die cutting it and then having it shift and having all of your time that you've taken to color in skew if. All right, you're lined up, you're lined up, you're lined up, you're lined up. Cross fingers. It comes, I think the problem comes if you put your plates down crooked, and then as it moves through the machine, it sort of wants to adjust the plates. And if you've had, like, sometimes you notice when you finish die cutting, the die is stuck to the top plate. And I think what happens is, as it moves through, it tries to right the plates. So if the plates are crooked, it pushes them into alignment, and that's when and then that, see, did you see that? That just jumped then too, as it was going through, it just jumped a wee bit. So, whoops, and I do think that they may have, don't cry, it'll be okay. Some of them worked. Oh no, some of them worked. It was like, see how they're stuck to the top? And I think that's what happens when things don't cut out properly. They just sort of, the plates get, the machine squeezes the plates back into proper alignment. Anyway, that's what I think. That's what I think happens. Now I've got to try and figure out where these dies went. Whoops, might have to be for another day, I reckon. Just make sure I've got them all. Anyway, This is going to give me, I should have done my outline trick because I don't know where they were now. Do you go round and round and round? I should have done it. Darn it. Darn it all. Because you're not going to fit. Where did they come from? Who's got a photo? Who's got a photo who hasn't pulled their stuff apart yet? Anyway, you will just get stuck like you for a moment. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I do need my die machine still a wee bit longer because I want to do some grasses as well. So I've got some lemon lime twist. I have used Granny Apple Green, but I'm going to use lemon lime twist, and I'm going to create a few different layers with there's several different grasses going on here. So I'm going to grab some of these. I'm going to just work out. I'm probably going to have to, oh, this could be dicey. If I put it up the top, then I should be okay. I've used this one so far, but I haven't used any of the other ones. So I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put them up the top. Who's used the grasses on here? That would be so annoying, Cynthia, to go, right, yay, I've got it, and I want to start playing with it, and then realize, no, I can't start playing with it just yet. That would be frustrating. Okay. It'd be like, can't I just keep some of the images? And oh, you should have stamped out a whole heap of images to color in first and then sent it back. Or is that a little bit naughty? All right, let's get these guys and we'll see what we end up with. Whoops. You out the way, you out the way. All right. Yep, I think I'm going to have to, and now I've lost track of where these guys went as well. So I am going to have to fiddle with that later. I'm going to put all my dies in there because the last thing I want is to lose any of them. So I'm just going to pop that away. Oh, Deborah, do you want to send me a photo of how these went? Then I can get them back in. Okay. Shifting stuff. Right. So I may not work with all of these things. I just wanted to see what we've actually got. So obviously we need to do a little bit of snipping here. So I will just cut them off for starters and work out what I need. Oh, that was close up there, wasn't it? What I need and what sort of arrangement I'm going to have. I don't want to go trimming anything off of here because I'm not sure how I'm going to layer these guys up yet. And snip that one. This one I will just trim off because obviously I don't need all of that. All right, so we've got looks like a bit of a mound and a couple of different grasses. So we can layer things up. You can do, oh, you could have done like a dirt mound behind there. May not use that one. Let's put some ink blending on them just to separate them and so that we know that the definite individual pieces. So I've got some Granny Apple Green, which is the color that I used in my coloring. And that way this will help separate these pieces a little bit as well. Define these edges, and then when we layer them together, it will probably help separate them. Have I done that? Oh, yep. I was going to say, have I done them on the right time? Thank you very much, Deborah. That would be much appreciated. Yep, through Messenger if you want, if that's easiest for you. That would be awesome. I know I always say, I need to get some of those magnetic sheets. So Granny Apple Green is the perfect partner for Lemon Lime Twist. So we can get them, see how it's going to separate nicely. So we've got a little bit of that two-tone going on. These are our branches and our shrubbery. So I think we've got grass, we've got shrubs, but I'm going to put them together. It doesn't matter. I'm going to layer them, and then we've got a dirt mound by the looks of it. These ones definitely look like shrubs. Good morning, Margaret. Shrubs, grass, and I would definitely say that that's probably a dirt mound or a hill or something, because it looks like there's a bit of, oh, I'm going to do this anyway, just so that you can see the shape of it a little bit more, even if I don't use it. Might be just a bit of a hill, because it looks like there's some grass on there as well. Okay. Hello, Lois. So these are the three. Probably won't use that one there, but I probably will use these two here, like that. So, and if it, you know, whatever, it's just adding green. Well, yeah, I suppose you could use that. You could use that like that and pop it in there. Something like that. Now, one thing I will say, I wish that had been in the die. I wish that had cut out that little bit there. And I also feel, and I said this when I did the colouring in video yesterday, I feel like there should be the second part of the handle, because we've got the other side of the frame here and we've got the other side of the frame here, but we're missing the second handle, and it would have only just been a small piece of the handle, but I still think it's missing a little bit. Anyway, that's just me. Okay, done with the green. Right, I've got my blue, I've got my green, I've got my images. All right, so now I'm going to come back to this panel here, because I don't want it stark white. I would like to put a little bit of smoky slate on it, which is what I have used in the wheelbarrow. So, and I only want to go lightly. Now, this did have brown on it beforehand, and I've spent, oh, still got brown on it. I was going to say I've spent the morning trying to clean that off, but it's still got brown in it. But that's okay, because I do have touches of brown in the rust. I'm not going to get too freaked out. But I don't want any of that green to come into it. So I'm just going to move down into an area where there is no green. And I'm only going lightly anyway, so it's only just to really tint this area. So if it's got a mixture of brown and green in it, I really am not too fussed. So, and I'm just doing really, really super light pressure, because I just want to sort of grungy it up a little bit. So any dirtiness is fine with me. Okay. So just super lightly, just so that those raised areas sort of get picked up instead of, you know, really, really pounding onto it. So just want a little bit gruff. And it's actually pretty cool. Some areas have come out a little bit browner, some areas have come out a little bit grey. So I don't mind that. Sort of looks like, you know those, like when you go into a tunnel, those train tunnels, and it's got a little bit of the brick stonework around it. So that's going to be fun. Lois, I did all the colouring yesterday, so all I've done so far is a little bit of watercolouring on the background and just die cut things. So we're not too far out of. Oh, did I just get something? Oh no, look. You know how I was talking about the colours coming out? So this has actually got a little bit of reds in it that have come out as well. So that's quite interesting. Good evening. Oh, good evening. Good evening to you, Susie. Good morning to Joan. We are totally international here, aren't we? Okay, I think I have got all my bits. I just need my sentiment, which I'm going to white emboss, and I'm using a base of thick basic white. And so I'll show you what I've had in my head. So I thought I'm going to pop that down, and then this is going to go over the top. And then I thought about some grasses, which will probably go underneath here. So I will have to trim them down so that we've got a little bit of something like that going on. And then to pop in our, which way will I do that? To pop in our bits and pieces. So this is what I've had in my mind. Oh, why is everything so fiddly? And then with my happy birthday sentiment. So I'll bring that up to the screen, as messy as it is, just so that you get an idea of what I would like to go on. So I'm going to do that. I might emboss my sentiment right now, just so that I can lay it on, and that way I know where everything's going to go, where everything's going to happen. Oh, and I've got these gorgeous embellishments too, and these are super flat, so they're fantastic for putting on your cards. So we've got a happy birthday in here. So I will do that, and then I will know exactly where everything's going to go. So even though I've sort of grungied it up, it's still nice and bright. So I'm loving. It's actually turned out better on card than what it has in my head. You know how sometimes you do things and it turns out better in your head than what it does in real life? Well, this has actually turned out a whole lot nicer than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm really happy with that. Okay, we're going to white emboss. Grab all my bits and pieces that I need. I'm going to need me some new white embossing powder soon. It gives the arch more texture. It does, doesn't it? I really like that. So it's sort of like we're looking through a tunnel or something into a landscape area. Pretty cool. So I'm not using the papers today, obviously. I thought let's go outside the papers. I know that the papers, and to tell you the truth, I'm going to be totally honest here. I'm actually using this suite for the Creative Card Makers Club for December, and I am pretty happy with what I've done so far. I've got a couple of my cards made, but that paper is so outstanding on its own that it's really hard to, because you don't want to cut the paper up, and it's really hard to come up with different layouts that don't include the arch looking through the scenery. So it's been interesting to come up with some new ideas. I've done two, so I'm going to keep going. And of course, you know, with that beautiful watercolor painted, and then we've got stamped images, it's hard to blend them together as well. So I'm hoping that everyone is going to love what I've come up with anyway. So let's get this up now. Okay, give this a nice trim. Almost midnight for Zana. Zana or Zana? Don't want to get your name mispronounced. I get my name gets mispronounced all the time, and it's like, oh, that's okay. I'm over it now. I don't worry about correcting anyone. See, Americans can't pronounce my name. I think that's the biggest thing. Which is funny. Even though I've said a couple of times in different groups, it's Alisa, it's not Alisa. And even Pam, my good friend, because she originates from the US, she can't pronounce my name either. So I just go, whatever. I'll answer to it. Oh. Okay, so there will be our happy birthday along there, and then a few little embellishments, and boom, we are done. Okay, so I need to trim down these grasses. So actually I might, what will I do? Will I stick them on and then trim them down? Maybe I'll do that, because I did cut these two panels the same size. Now I do realize that they shrink a little bit when they go through the embossing machine. Maybe I'll stick all that down and then trim them, just so that I know that I'm getting things in the right places. But that is sitting quite nicely. Right, okay. This is all the thought process, people. And I hope that you talk to yourselves while you're crafting as well, so that you can give yourself advice. Yes, that looks really good. No, don't do it that way. So I'm quite happy with that sitting there. And then, of course, we need to make sure that we've got everything in the places. So it can get a little bit fiddly sometimes. But I do like these spiky grasses, and I do want to keep them. I know that they're shrubs and grasses, but that's okay. I'm going with it anyway. Going with it anyway. And then I think I am going to stick this down flat just because it is a little bit on the wrinkly side. So, and of course my, oh look, I don't even need to trim that down. Oh, but you know what I should have done? I should have not put adhesive behind that area there in case. Do you know what? Here's a little trick. If you put adhesive, especially seal, I don't know, you know, you could dab off liquid glue if you were using liquid glue. But if you're using seal, I want to not have adhesive behind here because I want to tuck a bit of my, I want to tuck a little bit of that underneath there. So what you can do is if you just rub that with your finger, see how that's, I hope you can see it. See how it's coming, it's starting to bead off. If you just rub that backwards and forwards, that glue actually comes off and then it balls up. And look, you don't even, you can't even tell that I had adhesive there. So I quite like seal for that stuff as well. All right. Okay, back to sticking down. All right. And then, you know, you don't, and you're not sticky afterwards. You just roll that glue off and away you go. All right, so I'm going to stick this down flat. So I can just roll that all the way around. Oh. And because it's thin as well, we want to, that's why I'm using adhesive all the way around, because it is thin and it has been wrinkled from going through the embossing. And then of course I'm putting it onto more wrinkled stuff, so just be careful. Cynthia's just saying about talking to herself. All crafters, the only way crafters just talk to themselves. All right, I'm going down. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to trim these edges off. I'll just be naughty and use this, and I'm going to come in this side so I can see exactly what I'm doing. And if I happen to trim a little bit of the white off, it's not going to matter. All right, got stuff sticking everywhere. And swing this around. Trim that side off. All right. I am no good with scissors. If I was to try and do that with scissors, I would make a massive big mess. And it looks like I'm making a massive big mess now. It would be even worse if I use scissors. Right, there we go. I've got a few layers of card going on there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of card to cut through. So there we have that piece. And again, I'm just going to stick that flat here because this piece is quite bulky. It's surprising how bulky this piece has gotten. I'm actually going to use a lot of adhesive as well because it's so wrinkled. If you were letting it dry overnight, that back panel, you probably wouldn't have this issue, but because I'm going for it today. Now I have got a tiny, tiny, tiny white border, which I perhaps should have used liquid glue, but that's okay. If you don't like those, if you don't like the border edge, you know what you can do? You can just bring in this and just muddy that little area up as well. Oops, I should have opened that so that the edge isn't muddy. Oh, dear. There we go. That will hide any crookedness because I think I did stick it down crooked, and that will hide any little boo-boos. There we go. Oh, thank you so much, Deb. Okay, there we go. Liking that so far. So next we build things up. We want that in. You know what? I think I'm going to put adhesive on this part, but then I reckon I might put some dimensionals just on the top bit here so that it sticks up a little bit. So let me just test it again. And I might put one on the wheel as well. I'm just using minis at the moment. So that will give a little bit of oomph and dimension to that. So we're going to stick that under there. I really wish they'd die cut that out. Anyway. So we'll pop that on there. It does overhang a wee bit, but I think you could still get away with it. If you put it into your envelope this way, I don't think it will get too trashed. You can obviously move it over if you want a little bit, but I'm going to put it that way. Let's put this up with some dimensionals. Okay, we are getting close to being done. So we've got a little basket, and I've coloured them in the same flowers as the flowers because, you know, maybe we've been out collecting all these flowers and we've put some in the basket. My happy birthday, I'm debating whether to put that on there first, or I'm going to stick these down flat, I reckon, which means I need to have, nope, I'm not using the liquid glue. I'm not going to do it. I was going to say I'm going to need to use liquid glue, but I'm not going to. What? Because that just rolls off that way. Okay, so we'll pop these down. And rub that off. And pop that down. And then this one I can pop over the top with dimensionals too. Woohoo! Happy. And I'm not going to use any seal on one end because it's only going to touch the tip of that basket. So next I just need to know dragonflies or birds. We've got both. We've got dragonflies and birds going in this one. There's two types of birds. Let me bring it up and show you. So happy birthday. If you wanted to, you could even have put a little bit of gold. Oh, you know what? Should I do it? Should I put some gold twine behind there? A loop-de-loop of gold twine. I wonder if I still got time. How have I still got time? It doesn't mesh with my... yeah, that'll be okay. Just a little bit, just a wee bit. Nothing too out of control. So I might have to take you off for the moment. Take you off. Just a little bit. I hadn't used, I sort of put this away and hadn't pulled it out. I was going, last month I was on a big twine thing happening, and I sort of haven't used it again. I just put it away. So let's get it out again. Okay. Two birds and one dragonfly. Two birds and one dragonfly. All right. Oh, I'm just going to put another one back on you. And that sort of will help fill that little space down there as well without taking away too much. Just a little loop-de-loop. And just because I like to, I'm going to fray those ends as well. There we go. And okay, birds and dragonflies. I sort of have got a little bit of room up here, but I could always put a dragonfly on the bunch of flowers here. What am I doing? That goes with that. All right, let me show you what we've got on here. So we have dragonflies, and then we've got 2 different types of flying birds. So I really like these. And like I said, they are super, super flat, and they are self-adhesive. Let's put a little dragonfly on there maybe. And should we do one of each bird? They could be flying off in the distance. One flying away that way, and maybe one flying this way. There we go. Ta-da, ta-da. Quite like this. Okay. Quite like how it's turned out. I'll bring it up in a second. I have this thing about putting things away after I've used them, like packaging wise. I don't know why I can't just have them all. And I always have to clean up before I finish it and show you guys the last little bit. I don't know why. Okay, so that would definitely be a dirt mound that you could use in the background. Interesting. Okay, there we have it. So from just mainly white cardstock, and then I've got this. So what you could do if you wanted to is, instead of having that extra layer that I did, you could do your watercoloring background on that and just insert that back in there. I could have done that. It probably would have, been quite pretty to do that as well, because then you would have the little lines on this side as well. And then when you did these guys, you could either put them straight across, and or you could just trim it to these and pop that in. So you could do that as well. So there we go. We've got our rusty wheelbarrow. So if you're looking for the video on the wheelbarrow, it is on YouTube, and it is also in the Blends and Beyond Facebook group. So that's a group I started especially for colouring with our Stampin' blends. So if you can join that if you haven't already. And again, because I always forget, if you haven't yet joined up to my newsletter, you can do so at alisatilsner.com. And like I said, I will list all the measurements for the card. They're pretty basic measurements, but you will also, all the colors that I've used, everything, supplies. So if you want to recreate it, you can easily do so. Okay, and then the written instructions as well. And then you can come back and craft along with me. You've got to have the written instructions beside you. You can get everything ready, and then you can replay this video and craft with me. So there we have it. I will swing back to me for 2 seconds. Oh, before I do, I also have, this is the colouring class that I have out for this month. I don't know whether I'm going to do classes every month. They're sort of just like as an image takes my inspiration, and this was just a muck around, and the fur technique worked really well for me. I'd never done it before, and I was like, oh, well, there we go. I've taught myself something new, so now I'll teach you guys. So that one is a class open. I do also have the St. Nicholas and In the Moment stamp set, which are more about the stamp images, but this one's more about a technique. So if you've got other little fluffy friends, you can colour them in with that as well. So, but that's it. Oh, and I did get, that's what I was going to say. We've been going on for a little bit longer. I might have to do this as a separate video. I got my pre-order yesterday. Yay! So I did an unboxing. I was going to tack it onto the end of this video, but I did a quick unboxing video in my team group yesterday, and it was nearly half an hour. So I think that might have to be a standalone video. Maybe tomorrow if I get time, so I can show you what I got and what I plan to use for what. So that will be exciting as well. So thank you very much for joining me. Have a great Friday, rest of your Thursday. Thursday's tomorrow for you, rest of the week, and a great weekend. And we will see you on Monday with another product spotlight, and then Thursday this time next week as well. No live with Pip next week because Pip had surgery on her back, and she said I had a quick message from her this morning, And she said that she's only able to sit for like 10 minutes at a time and walk for 10 minutes at a time. So most of the time she's laying down. So no cards. She's like, oh, yeah, she'll be fine. I'm like, no, rest, rest, rest. So hopefully she'll be back up and running next month for a live with Pip. Okay, that's all the news from me. Take care. Enjoy your colouring. Can't wait to see everything that you colour with these images as well, because they're really fun to play with. Okay, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.